Hello everybody and welcome to this pick a card reading video. As usual, for today we have 3 different piles. These are signifier cards that represent where you are at in life, like at this moment from watching this video, specifically as it relates to your ego. Now, ego isn't all bad. It doesn't have to be all bad. Like, I know people talk about ego deaths and whatnot. You need at least a little ego, even a little bit more than a little bit of ego, to be able to get through life and help with decision making. But we'll see if maybe you need an ego boost or if you need to tame your ego a little bit. Obviously, there will be more nuance once you get into your pile, and you'll see which way it goes, like on which side of the coin you land, and then we can dive deeper. By the way, from listening to this video, like maybe it's very likely you don't have a super big ego, but this reading can give you some clarity as to maybe where you overcompensate. Like, that's just an example where you maybe undercompensate, where you don't give yourself enough credit. Again, when you pick your pile, you'll have more of an understanding for what exactly it is. If you need some more time, you can pause the video now and continue to look at each of the piles. And I feel like there's something else I was going to say. I don't know. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like your pile. I usually don't say that in the beginning. Oh, everything I talk about and discuss in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Alright, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. Here we have Heracle's Strength. So this reminds me a lot of Leo energy. And it's funny because when you think of like which zodiac sign is most associated with having a big ego, it's Leo. That doesn't mean it has to be like 100% a bad thing. I'm not even saying you have a big ego, right? But that's just what it made me think of. It made me think of Leo energy. So this is the energy you embody right now. I'll pull another card in a moment that will represent more of an energy that spirit would like for you to embody, or the energy that you're meant to embody that's truly authentic to you. But with this being here, to me, it makes me think that you are somebody who you've been through hardships in life, and so because of that, you have to be strong. It's like you don't really have time to think. You don't have time to feel. You just have time to only make decisions that you feel are logical and sound, and you go from a place of that. So I wouldn't be surprised too if a lot of you are very hardworking people in your careers. If you're somebody who, if you have a family or even a friend group, it's like you're the person who helps make sure that everything is established, everything continues to stay connected. For some of you, though, I will say it could be the opposite of that, or maybe you're very much alone. Well, not alone. I was gonna say you could be like a lone wolf, even though there's 2 different animals in here. But it feels like you're somebody who's very independent. So I think part of where you probably need to be humbled a bit is thinking that you can just do everything yourself. Humans are social creatures, and unless you're somewhere like stranded on an island, or if you're transported to back in the old days and like you're the last surviving member of your village, and for some reason all the nearby villages hated your people, that's why like everybody else got slaughtered. I don't know, like I'm just saying as an example, unless you were to live in those kinds of circumstances, you need to be able to, I'm hearing specifically to learn and grow from other people. You need to be in talks with other people, or in community, there we go, with other people. You can't only be a lone wolf. You can't only think that you can do everything yourself. There's things in life where you have to recognize where you do need help, where you need to ask for it. And strength, that's like you say that you already embody strength. You already embody, well, it's not even just embodying, it's you believe you have the knowledge necessary as it is. So it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're still very, like, continue to grow your knowledge, like if you read, if you learn from other people's experiences. But even doing that, it's more of a solo journey. So Spirit is saying it's time to open up your life to allow others in on your journey with you. You don't have to only, you don't have to be alone. in this, I'm getting imagery too of like, so you know how like sometimes like the local bar, there's somebody who goes in there maybe every once in a while, maybe they're a regular, but there's somebody who they just kind of sit by themselves, have a drink. They don't even really talk much to the bartender, and maybe that's like the most interaction they get. They just talk to the bartender. It reminds me of Jess from Gilmore Girls too, where it's like you feel like the world is broken. You feel like everything is broken, so the best you can do is just use your own logical reasoning because you can't rely on other people. So there's really this messaging that's coming through of you can't trust other people, so that's why you can only trust yourself. You can only trust your own reasoning. So now's the time. I know I talked about some of you I don't even remember what I said. Sorry. When I do these, I like am in the zone. So but I think I talked about how maybe some of you help gather community together. I think what I was getting a sense of is spirit just wants, it's not even that, so maybe some of you still resonate with what I said, but I think for most of you it's actually that because you are a lone wolf, it's hard for you to also connect with people. It's hard because maybe you have different interests, you have different beliefs from the people around you, and also because you've just been hurt in your relationships with people in the past, so it's hard for you to open up and try to trust people. Trying to figure out where I should place this. Is that good enough? Now we're gonna see what energy spirit would like for you to begin to embody. What energy should, I think it's this one, or is it the top one? I feel like it's this one. I feel like this wants to also come out. I wasn't planning on doing another one, but this one like really wants to come out as well. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay, energy you should embody. I'm not surprised we pulled this. Persephone Awakening. I'm not surprised we pulled this because Persephone is also associated, because with this it kind of reminds me of Hades, the energy I was getting as well, that darkness that was showing up. And so Persephone is part of that darkness, but it's also about the rebirth within the darkness and about the reflection. So something spirit is saying you can do to help get your ego in check, like to stay in line, to be more neutral instead of coming from a place of ego, is that you can do more reflection, where I think a lot of you, with like those characters I was talking about, they aren't very reflective of their past. They just try to like run from it and escape from it. On the other hand, Persephone is somebody who, she didn't escape. She was somebody who, well, I guess she at one point, she didn't escape, but what is the lore again? She was granted access like every spring to come out, and then when it's fall, she has to go back in hiding, unless if it's winter. But so that something happened with the, you know what? We don't have to go into all the folklore here. But anyway, she was kidnapped, stolen from the world, and Hades took her underground to the underworld. So with me saying that, it's like it's similar, but it's a reverse of your situation, where instead of being in a place of escapism by having such a hyper independence and hyper intelligence, part of intelligence that you can learn to hone in on more is your emotional intelligence and even your spiritual intelligence, some of you. But with awakening, this makes me think that what will help put your ego in check and get you from running away from your past is to actually embrace your past. That doesn't mean we have to be happy with what's happened, all that's happened in the past, but this is about coming from a place of understanding why it is that we have the certain qualities we do now, and having an understanding of maybe why things happen. And sometimes with the awakening too, it's about accepting that some things happened to you in the past that you can't explain. Having an explanation doesn't mean it makes excuses for other people's wrongdoings or even our wrongdoings in the past. But what it does, sorry, I'm fixing this candle. Okay. But what it does is it just puts things into perspective, and we can instead grow and learn and be like, we can be different from the people who have hurt us, but not in a way that's detrimental to our well-being. It reminds me of like some people, like they grow up, they are completely different from like their father, But just because it's the complete opposite doesn't mean it's good. So there needs to be more of a neutrality here. So if you're somebody who you're like, well, I don't want to become this complete other person, Spirit's not saying that, but there's like a bit more neutrality that needs to come in, a bit more balance with the awakening. So instead of escaping the past, it's about awakening ourselves to the past. And then this showed up too. 2930, that's crazy. Okay, so Dynasty is freedom. I'm just gonna put this on top, that's fine. Actually, you know what? I'll just do this. Let's see how that fits in frame. Good enough. So yeah, Dynasty says that ultimately, like, being more reflective, being more open to your past will actually free you from any chains that you have placed on yourself, as well as the chains others have placed upon you. Like, chains meaning however people have treated you unfairly, but it seems also like, yeah, you kind of stuck in this past self as much as you try to escape it, because you're not going about it like the right way. You're still chained, it's just you're further along, and so it's harder to break those chains when you're still connected to them, but the source of that chain, where the chain began, is further back. Does that make sense? I'm visualizing, so it makes sense to me how I'm visualizing it, but yeah, ultimately Spirit is saying you will break free from these chains by actually, like, you can't just break free, like if you visualize chains around yourself, you can't break free from a chain by just trying to run, which is what you're doing. You have to try to figure out a way to maneuver your hand out of it. So I actually think too, you're very smart people. I'm really getting that here. You're very smart, and you're very good at thinking on your feet, at being able to, like, it's a survival thing, right? And even just looking at this, the strength in Heracles, it just reminds me of survival, where, and even Persephone, it's like, even if you feel trapped, you're able to be set free, because she is able to come back out in the springtime. And now, oh my god, this is actually perfect too, because now it just began. Springtime just began. And when I think of Dionysus, I think of spring and summer, because Dionysus is also related to, like, grapes and wine harvesting and whatnot. So with this, I'm hearing too, like, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and there's a, you know, that golden apple here. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. I'm also hearing having time to pause, so you don't need to always be in this hypervigilant state. You can be set free. And with being set free, also, I was saying, like, you're very smart people, I can tell that. So with these cards, it's saying you'll be even more intelligent, because being smart, it's more than just having knowledge. And intelligence, it's more than just having information that you know and that you can repeat back to others. It's about what you do with that information, how you relate it to others, how you teach others, how you utilize that and let it seep into your own being, and how it lives out in your own life. Okay, I'm gonna pull from the tarot cards now. So yeah, you're very smart people, but it's for your detriment sometimes. What information do you have, Spirit? We're using the Dark Crystal Tarot deck. What additional meanings are... I feel like I mainly got everything out that Spirit wanted for me to say. We're gonna keep going. So I guess what am I trying to ask? What else? What piece of advice do you have for how people can, for you all, how about 2 cards representing how you can begin the process of everything I set up here, how you can begin that process of, like, softening your ego a bit. Maybe, do I just feel like pulling 2 cards? I'm gonna pull those 2 cards and see what comes out, and then we'll see after that what would like to be said. Even though I feel like for y'all, maybe there would just need to be less cards pulled, because I think I already nailed it. If I do say so myself. Okay. I feel like that card, I don't know where it... Here's one of the cards. Knight of Vials, and the Vials is cups. One more card for 1A. please. That one flew out. Okay, what card is that? Stones in this deck are swords, and it's 9. Yeah. 9 of swords in reverse. So with this combination, I'm not surprised these cards came out, especially the Knight of Vials or the Knight of Cups in reverse. But really what these cards are saying is that, like, this is so Persephone quoted actually, what you need to do is, even though it's difficult, you need to face your emotions. You need to get past any rough exteriors and walls that you've put up. And that's the same with this card too, honestly. Because this card in the upright is all about having worry. But in reverse, it's about things being, it can be about like worries even being suppressed. So with these two being next to each other, it's like there's things that you've suppressed that you haven't fully worked through. It reminds me of early this year or late last year, I watched a documentary about these people who were Afghan vets, and they were all part of the same like unit. Is that what I'm trying to say? And they had a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, and then they did mushrooms, and then like they're awakened. It doesn't even have to be that intense, but then they became less toxic in their masculinity. Like, I'm just saying this is an example. They became more open to feedback and being able to process their emotions. So even though it's difficult at first, once you work through these suppressed emotions, and then when you continue on with life, no longer suppressing emotions, you'll realize it's a lot easier to, for the most part, handle tough situations and to work through things. And it can be difficult too when you continue to suppress emotions. It can be difficult to trust your intuition, and it can be difficult to know what it is you actually feel. So that's why Spirit's saying to just try and start doing that now. It won't be an easy process, but it's something that's necessary to open you up more. And I just see you being a lot kinder to yourself in the future once you're able to do this. I feel like there's a card Spirit wants me to pull for like what will end up happening from you. Is that the card that wants to be pulled? Yeah. This like how you'll end up being. Gems or Pentacles, and it's in the upright. So yeah, 10 of Pentacles is all about, I think too, you'll feel more connected to your community. 10 of Pentacles reminds me of that. I think you'll feel a lot less down on yourself. 10 of Pentacles is about family connection. So if there's issues with family you've had, this could be an indication that part of your healing journey is speaking to family members specifically that have hurt you, even if you love them, or maybe you don't talk to them very much at all. Like, it could be anything, but for some of you, maybe it's about actually, you know what? I was going to say speaking to them directly. I actually think for most of you, if you have family issues, or if you have things that relate to the past, this isn't saying you can't confront people, or not confront, but like try to have conversations with people about how they've hurt you growing up or in the past. But I feel like for a lot of you, because you're so individualistic as it is, this feels like just more so coming to see people for as they are. Like, people are no longer put on a pedestal, but also the reverse of that. People aren't like bottom of the barrel scum all the time. Some people, you know, are, and if you feel like that's true, then don't be afraid to clock it. But it just feels like with this understanding and reflection phase that you'll go through, I'm getting visuals of it, I'm trying to translate it. With these things with these past events that you reflect on, you go through in your mind, conversations, whatever it is, it feels like, well, with doing that, this card also can represent freedom because it represents security. 10 of Pentacles can relate to finances, but I'm not getting that. It just feels like a main thing I'm getting is you'll be more structurally sound despite what your past has brought upon you. It's like you're not just an old cabin, abandoned cabin in the middle of the woods. You've been rebuilt, and now somebody lives in that cabin, and somebody nourishes that captain. So this is like you nourishing your mind, body, and soul and spirit. You knowing your worth and that you are worthy of living a happy and peaceful life, and knowing that that comes from a stable foundation, and knowing that that stable foundation isn't rooted only in strength and the ability to persevere, but it's also rooted in the ability to reflect and be honest with oneself and to allow your emotions to come through. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 1A, for watching, listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot. Did I already say that? I don't remember. I have timeless pick a card reading videos. I have my ASMR channels down below. You can check out if you want. But yeah, thank you so much, 1A. Bye-bye. Hello, 2B, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. We have here number 5, Cronus and Cycles. I just gotta say, I'm getting the vibe that a lot of you are actually, like, not in this, it doesn't have to be in this lifetime, or, like, as it stands when you're watching this, but it feels like your soul itself is young. So it feels like with Cronus cycles showing up here, there's a lot of lessons you need to learn. And I think this is important to point out because I think that if you've chosen this stack, you have a very low ego. And by that I mean, like, you don't really have much of an ego is what I should say. And I think a lot of you struggle with self-worth. I think as life continues to change, I think you get more nihilistic, and it's like you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you are worthy of things, or a big thing is that you don't believe you can accomplish things. Maybe it's because you've always been told, like, you're a low life, you'll never amount to anything. You've been told this maybe by friends or family, your teachers. And maybe it's also something you struggle with because maybe, for example, career-wise, what you would want to do in life or what you are doing in life isn't something that family approves of. It's something that society doesn't approve of, and maybe it doesn't make you much money. So it's almost like the starving artist, the struggling artist mentality in a way, where it's like, this is something I want to do, but you get told that you're not contributing to society by doing it. Like, you're told that art maybe isn't as important as science, as math, as technology, as all these other potential career focuses. But you're like, it's more for you, I think, what you're meant to do in this life, career, like within your career and outside of career, it's more than just, like, it's important, and it's more than just what you do for society. And also, art does help society. Art reflects history, it reflects current events. Art helps people express their emotions, it helps other people relate to it, it helps people to escape or indulge. Like, there's so many wonderful things about art, and the thing about art that's the best is that it's profound. No matter how simple or exquisite and detailed, no matter how small or how large, no matter how colorful, art, the beauty in it is that it is subjective and that it is profound, and that helps with people's, like, imaginations. I think a lot of you maybe have even struggled, like, the past couple years with having a strong imagination because you're clouded by maybe dark thoughts and thoughts that you're not worthy enough, so you don't fully express yourself. You suppress your creative thoughts and your artistic ideas. And so because of that, over time, it's almost like you don't fully lose it, but because you suppress it, it's like you lose that muscle to be creative or artistic, or to think outside the box, to do what others don't do typically. So I think what Spirit wants you to do is, with these cycles, they want for you to go back into that period of life where you're more artistic, and even if it's a lot of darkness that shows up within that, use that to express yourself. Even if, like, you paint and it's a bunch of darkness and maybe it's a bunch of blobs, like, and that doesn't have to be just for a career, but, you know, I'm just saying that as an example. I see you doing things small steps at a time to get you back into the groove. So being more creative and artistic again, being more hopeful for your future. A lot of you are very down on yourself, and so I think an important thing to remember to help build your ego back up is to surround yourself with loving and kind people, because I think the people you maybe grew up with, or like in your town you were surrounded by, your neighbors, your teachers, it just feels like there's been people in your life who have been very negative toward you, and so I think it's hard for you to want to open up to others because you don't want for them to also tell you that you're not worthy. And you are worthy, so you deserve to have kind and loving friendships and relationships, but you also deserve to have that kind of relationship with yourself. And part of that, for you, what would be very healing is to be creative, more creative again, to I'm seeing, like, don't just stick to a schedule that other people want for you to do, like a life schedule. Do what feels right for you. And I feel like that's a good place to stop before now we'll pull a card that represents, let me move that down just a little bit. I'll pull a card that represents the energy that Spirit would like for you to begin to embody instead. For 2B, please, Spirit. What type of energy should this stack embody? Okay, this one does want to come out. Pontus, the unknown. Cool. I actually feel like there's another card that I'm not going to leave out, but it is to clarify this. So we have Pontus, the unknown, and Selene, intuition. Those are beautiful cards that go together. Let me tell you that. But I don't know too much about Pontus. They look like a Scandinavian Jesus, I guess. But I think this actually works good with this too. Because I think what keeps you stuck and what keeps you feeling like you're unworthy is because you haven't fully tried something you've always, how do I want to explain this? Like, even if you've dipped your toes into trying something before, like, even if we go back to that example, let's say you want to become a professional painter. I don't think even if you've tried in the past to, like, have that be a full-time job, I don't think you've actually given it full effort because you've always been scared to, like, just in that kind of example, right? But let it resonate and relate to where it does. Where it's like you don't give something your full energy because you always are, like, only, like, halfway, maybe even 3/4 the way there. But then there's always a part of you that's like, but I don't think it will work. It's like you doubt yourself before anything can fully come to fruition. So Spirit is saying that it's okay to not know all the answers, and maybe with the unknown too, it's like I think a lot of you want certainty that things will be a certain way. You want absolute certainty. You don't want to take risks, and that's part of the cycles too, but you can be stuck in the cycles, and you can just be like a hamster on a wheel. Sometimes the hamster needs to get off the wheel, okay? And you're the hamster here. But what Spirit is saying is that you want so much certainty that something will turn out okay. So then you don't have to worry about running the risk and then something not happening the way you'd like. And then you feel like your world is falling apart. But I think a lot of you, because of any stuckness you're in right now, the way you are, and also with it's like you already are in an unknown because you don't know unless you try. So Spirit's like, there's already unknowns because of that. Just don't be afraid to try. That doesn't mean you can't have backup plans. So it doesn't mean, like, for example, if you want to become a full-time painter, that you can't also have a job. Like, it reminds me of people on YouTube who are like, keep your job until if you really want to quit and, like, do YouTube completely full-time. Wait until you have a certain number of subscribers and, like, over a certain amount of time, you get stable income and you make more than you used to make. It reminds me of that, where that's a risk. Like, there still has to be an element of risk, a great element of risk here. You can still do things that prepare you, that you can have plans to fall back on, but with the unknown being here, there does have to be a level of risk. You can't know for certain how things will play out, and that is okay, because we can't stay stuck and stagnant. That will keep you more sad. It'll keep you, at least if you take the risk, you can't. Here's the thing, some of you still will maybe beat yourself up even if things don't, like, pan out, where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But Spirit is saying, whether things pan out completely or not, it's about you trying, because this is something that matters to you and that is important to you, something you want to do. You want to do since, like, you were a child for a lot of you, but for a long time, this is something you've wanted to do, but you just sell yourself short. But you got to take a risk. inevitably you take risks by not taking the ultimate risk, right? Because you have been making the choice to stay put. And Spirit doesn't want that for you. They say you have to embrace the unknown, and even if things don't pan out, you can still at least, something that can build your ego up a bit more is to say, at least I tried and I gave it full effort. And that's the thing too. Don't just half-ass it. Go fully into this. Experience everything. Don't be afraid. If things aren't perfect, it will be okay. Allegedly. But now let's pull from the tarot cards. Let's see. How do I want to do it for y'all? Yeah, I just feel like 3 pieces of advice, or yeah, 3 pieces of further advice, or like clarification for the situation. Okay, this one, okay, but I think it's the one behind it that wants, or is it? Yeah, it's the one behind it. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of Pentacles in reverse. With this, it makes me think, no matter how hard you try right now, it's like you'll be stuck in a way no matter what. Here, I'm trying to figure out how to clarify this further. If you stay put, you can stay where you are and you can still live an okay life. You can still even if you're still working hard, you're working hard doing other things, like that'll be fine, but it won't be fruitful. And with this card, it makes me think specifically it's not what you're meant to be doing long term. This could be career, this could be where you live. Think of whatever pops up. For a lot of you, this does relate to just life purpose in general. So for a lot of people, that does relate to career, but if it's something else like starting a family, just think about like long term, where you see yourself long term. So in order to get to your life purpose, you need to be able to take the risks. And yet Spirit is saying that the work you're doing now, whatever kind of work, whether it's career or something else, what you're doing right now isn't something that's ultimately making you happy. So Spirit wants you to be happy, even if there's a level of being scared tied to that. It's better to be scared and to try than to be scared and to not try, right? It's like you're gonna be always wondering anyway. And it reminds me of people where it's like the love that got away type of energy, where it's like, oh, I should have said something back then. This card, the Hanged Man. Yeah, there's a lot of preconceived notions you have, and a lot of this is tied to your self-worth and conditioning, where you just don't. This is saying you need to shed a lot of internalized thoughts you have and criticisms specifically you have toward yourself. This is saying that I keep hearing the phrase now, to be free, or to be cringe is to be free. I don't get that fully encapsulates you all, but I think what Spirit's trying to say here is that by being more kind to yourself, by not being so like strict with yourself, by not being so heart close to the chest, by letting that love flow out, like all throughout you and around you, like letting it completely surround you and encapsulate you, this love, this kindness, and this gentleness will allow you to actually be more at ease, and you'll be even less scared. That doesn't mean you won't be scared at all trying this new thing, doing this thing you've always wanted to do, but there's just a sense that, like, even with this creature here, it's almost like I'm imagining you sleeping. You know how when you're asleep, you're the most peaceful, but sometimes, I was going to say an analogy, but I don't think it resonates here. So just think about being at peace. I mean, that's just the best way I can describe it. Be at peace even when things are uncertain. Be at peace with the unknown, but also be more kind to yourself, and don't believe that you can't do something. Okay, one more piece of advice or clarifying information, please, Spirit. And don't compare yourself to other people either. But yeah, a lot of this also is tied into that conditioning where you're like, this isn't what people expect of me. It's like, who cares about what your parents expect of you? If they truly love you, then it shouldn't matter what you do in life, as long as you're not hurting other people. What is the final card that would like to come out? Whoa. Thank you. See, I was getting imagery of this card as well before I started pulling the tarot cards even. So I'm not surprised that this is here. We have the Four of Cups and the upright. And the Four of Cups is all about like just waiting around. It's like a lot of you are in this place where you're just waiting around for something to happen, but Spirit's like, what you want to have happen won't happen by you just staying put. It won't happen by you just wishing for it to happen and not actually doing the necessary steps to allow it to happen. It won't just happen, and it won't just happen like that. And this can also indicate maybe it doesn't happen overnight. Like, again, in steps. I see you doing things in steps. This is just tied in beautifully with everything else, where Spirit is saying, don't just stay put. You need to be willing to try. And you just sitting there, because in the traditional tarot card, the Rider-Waite deck, the Four of Cups, somebody is just sitting there like bored up against a tree. This is like you just sitting there waiting. And Spirit's like, nothing's happening. And it's like cycles, but you're just in the same one. So it's like, if you want to go to the solar circle over here, you can't. Because you're just like, well, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to... What is it? What's that one quote? Insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting different results. So Spirit's like, if you're expecting different results, you've got to be able to do something about it. You can't just stay where you're at. And so a lot of this ultimately ties or trickles down to the main message here, which for your ego, to check your ego, it's about boosting yourself up, boosting your confidence up, surrounding yourself with people who also boost you up, putting yourself in a positive frame of mind, but also like a positive environment. So if you need to declutter your home, clean your home, that also helps put you in a more positive state. Doing something like going on walks and with putting music on, but also like going on walks, listening to nature outside, doing simple things like that will help re-energize you. Because a lot of you, what needs to be shown here too, it's like there's been this over the years a lack of energy, because with lack of enthusiasm, you've just put less thought and energy into what you want to actually do in life. So part of what you need to do is to get moving. So that can mean something like just going on walks will help. Physically doing something can help your mind also to get the wheels turning. Talk about cycles. If you want the wheels to turn, that's a good cycle analogy. Then you got to actually put those thoughts into motion, but also you like a lot of your thoughts are maybe very dormant that you used to have, and so it's time to like polish off the cobwebs, and it's time to fully give something more of an effort than we did before, or to even try again if you gave it an effort or a shot before. Maybe the timing just wasn't right before. And if that's the case, this is saying get rid of the notion that things will happen twice. Insanity is thinking or doing, because that's the thing too, maybe you just need to do stuff a little bit differently. Insanity is, what did I say? It's doing the same thing twice and expecting the same results. But okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much to B for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment down below if you resonate with the stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can check out my timeless pick a card reading videos on my channel, as well as my collective readings. I have 2 different ASMR channels if you want to check those out down below. But thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye. Hello 3C, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. We have here Helios Illumination, and this card reminds me of the sun. Helios, I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, it is the sun deity. Right? Okay, well, no, okay. Anyway, they are, wait, actually, I want to go in the book for that real quick, because I think it'll say it in here. God of Light, yeah, and he's a Titan, okay. And Selene is the moon. Selene was pulled in an earlier deck. their counterpart, the moon. But Helios, I mean, the sun is here. I just want to make sure for some reason, but and that's funny because you know what I was getting when I was getting your card and everything ready to go? I was hearing that a way for you all, I think you have like a slightly elevated ego sometimes. And I think it's because you think you're always right. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, so I'm a leftist, and I sometimes fall into this trap too. So if you resonate specifically with this example I'm about to say, like, doesn't come from a place of hatred. It comes from a place of I relate and understanding. But sometimes there's especially leftists who always think that other people on the left aren't doing enough. Like if you do something one way, it's like that's not enough. You need to do specifically this. You need to think specifically this, or else I don't like you. Even if you agree on 99.9% of things, and then people will like try to disown you and shame you. It reminds me of that. So I think a main way you need to, that's the main message I'm getting, that you need to calm your ego by not always thinking you are right about something. Even if you're somebody who's very knowledgeable on a certain topic, you still have the ability to be wrong. And sometimes what Spirit is saying is it's not just about being wrong, it's about how your energy is presented. Like there's a way to tell people they're wrong that comes from a place of empathy and kindness and trying to have other people, like just educate other people versus you trying to have power over other people or to shame other people. There's something else I was going to say too in the midst of that. Oh, sometimes too, you don't need to correct people. Some things you don't need to always correct people on. It reminds me of in school, if I would be reading out loud in class, or like another kid would, let's just say it's me. I'm reading out loud in class and then I say a word wrong and immediately the teacher's like, this is the word. And so it's like, you understand it. You understand that it's just like in that situation, maybe it's not the best because like the teachers, well, you know what? In those situations, you can tell when a teacher's just trying to help you like know a word and know how to say it versus trying to make you feel bad and stupid for not knowing how to say the word or what the word is. Do you get what I'm saying? So for some reason, like there's a connection with you where I wonder if you grew up in a household where everybody was very smart and there were high expectations of you. So because of that, you have high expectations of not only yourself, but other people as well. So I think if you are ever called out on something being wrong, like I think at first you'd probably be stubborn and not believe it. But then if you do your own research or if you really think about something, I think maybe you'll realize that you're in the wrong. But I still think you would have the type of personality where you wouldn't fully admit it. Like even if you apologize to somebody for like doing something that they didn't like the next day, after you had some time to decompress. I could see a lot of you having getting very animated. Not like anger issues necessarily, but I could see you being animated when you get angry. And like it's hard for you to absorb information, which is why you need to sit with it. And I'm not saying that's bad, by the way. I'm somebody who I often relate to. I'm not good at conflict resolution until I oftentimes have some time to like think before I speak, right? But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, but it seems like you all could have the personality where even if you're wrong about something, let's say even if you do, I don't think you always would apologize, but if you do, I think there's a stubbornness here too, where you still feel like you're right in a way. And it's this self-protection, self-preservation method so that you don't feel dumb or wrong. And so that there's something there that comes from that. So again, I don't know if that comes from high expectations that your family has had for you. It reminds me of people who are doctors or surgeons and then they want their kids to do the same thing. Even in athletics, it's like if your parent was an athlete and then they want and expect you to be an athlete and in the same sport. Or maybe this can represent status as well. Like maybe you grew up in a rich or well-off-to-do household or neighborhood or town. And so there's this expectations that you need to live up to. You need to live up to the expectations, even if it's actually detrimental to you. This could also relate societally, like if you're an AMAB, or if you're a born male, or if you identify as a male, there's a lot of expectations placed on men to act a certain way. So that's coming through here too, where it's this toxicity tied into like always being right, always being the one in power, always being the one that has to lead. I don't think you like to follow directions. I think you like to lead the people. also. And so Spirit's saying too, part of what can calm your ego is learning from others, not only learning yourself, but learning from other people. There's something I wanted to, there's so many messages that have been coming through for y'all. There's something important I kept trying to say twice now. The point I was going to get to, but I keep forgetting. So maybe that will show up again in a bit, but that's where we're going to start. Gotta put it back down more. Sure. And then the next card we are going to pull, I feel like I still need to, expectations, a lot of pressure on you. Oh, even, let's say you get into an argument with somebody and the next day, some of you wouldn't apologize, but some of you, even if you do apologize, it's like you don't really fully mean it. So it comes from a place of, you need to be willing to be vulnerable as well. That's something that can help calm your egos, to be more vulnerable instead of being hard-headed and coming from this place of, like, I'm right and I'm strong and I have all the answers. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable is a big thing. So what energy needs to be expressed more? Should they tap into more? Group 3C. Why is this one turned over? Oh, see, this is the from earlier, Selene Intuition. I forgot. For some reason, why was it? Is that the one that needs to be pulled? That was not like that earlier. So you know what? Maybe that is the one that needs to be pulled. Even though it was like showing like this. I don't think I put it in wrong. So you know what? I think that's the sun and the moon. What's opposite the sun? The moon. So I think that's perfect, actually. I'm going to pull another card, though, just because it feels like I should. Because I don't know. Maybe I just put it in wrong. And then we have Aries battle. With this, it makes me think pick and choose your battles. Like, not everything, you don't need to fight over everything. It's like how I say you don't need to always correct people on things. Also, it makes me think, too, like, maybe it comes from a place of love and compassion where you don't want people to make mistakes you've made. But if people still do it, don't take it personally. Just be like, well, people have the ability to make their own choices. And so we can't always choose what other people do with their life. There's also this sense of need to control things. So what Spirit is saying, like, I think this could act as like a bridge, actually, to over here. Pick and choose your own battles. And I think it's weird. I'm getting nothing when I was staring at this. You know what makes me think, even though it has intuition, you know what makes me think? Needing a clean slate. I think sometimes you all just are, like, it's like you always are thinking of arguments in your head. You're always thinking of talking points in your head for why you could be right about something that you could say back at somebody. So then it's like, see, I'm right. So I think what I'm getting here is to be more still and to be more present. I think, too, it's hard for you to view people in the present where you don't really view people as people. It's like you view people as the arguments you're trying to win. And so I'm going to move this over more. Okay. And so it's like Spirit is saying, what was I trying to say? I don't even know. Yeah, I just think clearing your thoughts, like not thinking so much, not overthinking things. And you can let other people be right too, whether they are actually right or not. Like, pick and choose your own battles means some things are not worth fighting over. Like, if you want peace within your relationships, it probably wouldn't be ideal to always argue about why you're right. Some things are not important enough, but then those small things add up and they build up. And so then it makes it hard for people to want to have and maintain relationships with you. So just really clearing your mind. If you have like counterpoints or counter arguments that come up in discussions or in disagreements, even if you agree with, I could see you being the type of person, even if you agree with people, it's like you want to just play devil's advocate anyway. And you think you're being smart, but you're really just like kind of damaging your connection with others. So ultimately, what you should do more of is connecting. And what you should do more of is when you think of all these different things to say back, instead just be like, I'm going to let this slide. And in certain situations where it's being like, I'm going to just let it be. Like, not everything needs fixing. I think some of you, maybe it's just because you think things need to be fixed so that they're right. Not everything needs to be fixed. Life is messy. Life is not meant to be picture perfect. So some things aren't meant to be fixed, or at least right away. Like, let things settle. Let the dust settle. That's the thing too. I feel like that phrase actually could resonate here. Letting the dust settle, like letting things be calm. I just think for a lot of you, if there's no chaos in your life, then you feel like you need to pick arguments. And I think that's where a lot of it, that's actually very important that I said this. I think that's where a lot of it could come from for you all, is oh, what was I just saying? I just lost it again. Why am I like this with this group? I think it taps into your own energy too, where it's like sometimes maybe you don't even know what you're saying, but you just feel like you need to say it so it pleases your ego and whatnot. But what I had just said, whatever it was, will resonate with a lot of you. Okay, any other further advice? I've been only pulling 3 cards, 3 tarot cards for the other people, but for the other groups, I think it might end up being 4 for y'all. We'll see. Maybe 3 will actually be good. Okay. Oh yeah, and don't overcompensate. Don't do too much. I'm hearing you're doing too much. The Empress. Yeah, so this is saying you need to be more nurturing to yourself and with others. Like, have a more almost maternal energy. Ace of Pentacles. I'm also hearing that Spirit wants to let you know, like, you're okay. Yeah, you don't have to do too much. Like, just be a more kind person. Also, I'm hearing being more open to other people's viewpoints. Even if you decide you don't agree with them, just being more open to receiving. Because that actually will help you not only connect to others, but that will help you, I'm hearing, recognize your place in the world for some reason. Where it's like maybe a lot of the viewpoints you have, or a lot of the talking points you have, are related to things that were passed down to you societally or familially. So think of the ways in which you are separate from that. I actually recommend, like, do a list of, like, over here are the beliefs and the thought patterns that my family or that society instilled upon me as a child or as a young adult. And over here, or just throughout my life. And then over here are the thoughts I actually believe outside of that. Think of anything that isn't related to those core beliefs that you got from elsewhere. Think of anything else. And then think of how you came up with those beliefs. Is it because of the experiences you've been through? Is it because of witnessing other people's experiences? Is it because of learning through educating yourself? I think that will be an important exercise for you all. Okay. Is that one? No. Okay. Is that one it? Should I turn it over? Maybe that's why. Just need to turn it over. Okay. 10 of Swords. Yeah, this makes me think you've been very hurt by what's happened in your past. And so that's why you do. I'm also getting 5 of Swords energy with this as well. But with the 10 of Swords is about loss, is about grief. So I think because of the loss you've experienced in your life, that's why you have to feel so sure about and positive about everything you say. You feel like you have to. This energy reminds me of overcompensating again, where you feel like you have to be right because there's no other way. Maybe at a certain point of your life, you had to always believe in yourself because others didn't, or you had to. It also gives me, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you grew up with negligent families, people who just didn't really give you attention, so you had to, like, this also reminds me of center of attention energy too. So that's where Spirit could also be saying, like, cool, you don't always need to be a center of attention. I don't say that in a negative way, okay? It's okay to have spotlight on us, but if you've been neglected in childhood, or you feel like if you're not loud enough, if you don't say crazy enough things, if you don't pick arguments, you feel like people will, like, you'll be lost, you'll be forgotten. Spirit's saying that's something you need to work through. It's okay to be more quiet and calm. And where you're at in life now, you'll be able to find people who are accepting of who you are without needing to put on a facade, without needing to be extra, without needing to like always start a fight. Like, it's okay. You can be more calm and at peace. And then the last card here, I think Spirit wants to say where you'll be like 3 months from now. Whether, I think, well, yeah, just where you'll be at 3 months from now. So let's see what has to be said about that. King of Gems. That's a perfect place to be. That's beautiful. The King of Pentacles. That's a beautiful place to be. The King of Pentacles is saying, in your future, ultimately, I just see you being a lot more happy, but with doing a lot less. So yeah, being less extra, like being more calm and in a state of peace will attract more people to you. I'm also seeing that, like, energetically, you'll get better opportunities. Like, don't be surprised if you get a raise at work, you find like a $20 bill on the ground. I just see, you see how this person's holding that gem, the King of Gems? I feel like this is like the missing piece. Not even the missing piece. I guess so. And for some reason, I know it's not a heart, but I'm imagining it being a heart. Like, I'm thinking heart of gold, like heart of diamonds, heart of gold. I just see also, if you have any superficiality, I see you being a lot less superficial, focusing more on human connection with others. But I see you in 3 months from now, 3 to 6 months is what I was getting, but especially starting 3 months from now, I see you being just overall a lot happier. And I see you not feeling the need to overcompensate and feeling like you are enough. You don't need to do more in order to be accepted by people. Yeah, and I'm just seeing, like, opportunities being in, like, people and being drawn to you because your energy has shifted. I just see you being in a better state of mind. So that's just a positive affirmation from Spirit that they like to let you know, okay? You're still going to shine bright. Oh, you're still going to shine bright without needing to do so much. You're still the sun. You've always been somebody who has a heart of gold. It's just, I think that heart of gold has been kind of put in a box throughout the years or the gold has turned to rust somehow, but now it's time to shine and polish off the rust, or like take the golden heart out of the box, because you do have a heart of gold. And so I think I wouldn't be surprised if you're more emotional as a person, like more sentimental and vulnerable as well by that point. A few months from now. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 3C, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. I already said that, I think. You can check out my timeless pick a card reading videos on my channel. You can check out my collective readings on my channel. I have 2 different ASMR channels that are linked down below if you want to check those out. But thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.